I'm going to pose a question for you, and I'm not sure what the answer is. Okay, when we look at the receiving metrics and the receiving stats, it kind of started with Fangraphs or Pitch FX, and now we have some more advanced systems and metrics. It seems like the catchers. If you have who are the best pitchers in the league? The best pitchers in the league now were the best pitchers in the league 5 years ago. The best hitters in the league, they usually have an extended. They may not finish number 1 or number 2, but they're going to be in the top 5 consistently. Like a guy like he's been retired now, but Albert Pujols. I mean, was Albert Pujols ever ranked the 30th best hitter in the major? Like, no, he was always consistently in the top. The interesting thing was receiving, since they've started measuring it in 2013 or 14, or I think there was some stuff before that, but say 13 or 14. It seems like pretty frequently there's a new leader. It's kind of, this guy's really good for a year. Like Jonathan LaCroix. I think Jonathan LaCroix was really good in 14 or 15. And then it was like 16 and 17. He was like way at the bottom of the list. And again, I'm not saying that to pick on him if he's listed by any means, but I'm just saying that there's not quite as much consistency with some of the guys who have received well and ranked really high. Do you have any thoughts on why that might be, or what could be occurring to make that happen?
I think just pushing the envelope is really what I would say is done. And I think, we had Trevino on the show, and he was talking about how dude, I love this position now so much because every guy is trying to figure out what's the next way to get this pitch or that pitch or whatever, right? Where, like you said earlier, you do drills receiving just to, hey, good soft hands, looks good, stick it. And then you were just focused on blocking and throwing. And so when we were kids, the best catchers were the guys who threw everybody out, and we just thought those were the best guys. And we always wanted to be the guy that everybody wanted to throw to. So we worked on our receiving the way we thought was right then. But I think the difference now is that now when you have put a metric to anything, that everybody's now wants to move up that leaderboard. So they're pushing and pushing. Oh, how does he do it? How does he do it? Okay. And then they're studying each other and they go, man, Jonah Heim was the best in zone 14 last year. And let me look at a bunch of pitches that he did that. You know what I'm saying? So I think It's more the idea that the metric has given these guys a leaderboard that they're like, dude, I want to move up. I know that, hey, if I hit 20 home runs and I'm at the top of that thing, that's 15 mil a year. I gotta go be that guy. And so I think it's more that the metric has given them a reason to push the envelope.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And just to give your show a plug again, we looked at it yesterday, and so far for the first month of the season, he's leading the league in receiving. There's a couple different stats, a couple different ways to look at it, but I think he's basically number 1 and 2 in all the metrics. Or almost all the metrics. So, if you haven't listened to that show, what are you doing? Go back and start that thing now.
Well, and you hear that he is when he's talking, he's a freaking nerd, man. And he wants everything. He's even at one point in the show, he says yeah, the one thing I haven't quite got yet is blocking a left-handed slider, left knee down. And he's like, I don't need to, because I'll just go right knee down or whatever. I can do it. He goes, but I just want to eventually figure that out. And that's the piece where the catching has now gotten to the point where these guys are it's not just oh yeah, you're good. And again, back when we were kids, you had to hit, the reality was you had to hit as a catcher and you threw, and we just said who threw out the most guys, and that's cool. It's just such a different thing. And coming from a, absolute catching nerd in myself, I just couldn't be happy. It's why it drives me nuts when you have the casual fans are oh, catching's the worst it's ever. I'm dude, we are in heaven right now as catching people. I mean, we really
so
are.
Good.
Like you said earlier, the guys that want to catch now are guys that could play freaking shortstop. Mm-hmm. That's the type. We used to be put the big kid back there, throw the gear on him, he'll be fine, or he's got a strong arm so he can go catch. And it's now we're getting guys that literally you always had the kind of infield convert at the big league level, but now it's you're getting the guys that could be playing shortstop at 12 going, no, I want to catch.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the good young guys. I mean, the Baileys, the Rutschmans, the Morenos. I mean, those guys are free. Gabriel Moreno, he's one of my favorite guys right now. I love watching that guy. I think so far this year he's thrown out 5 of 8 potential base stealers. Now with that said, his pitching staff is obviously doing something really well because I think they have the fewest attempts against. But he's also got the highest caught stealing percentage in the league, like by a lot. I think the last year the average was 19. I think at this point in the season it's down to like 17%, and he's throwing out guys at clips of like 63%. So these young
Insane.
guys, Bailey as well. I mean, it's really fun to watch these young guys coming up. Catching's really good right now.
It is, and I think the best part about that, like you're talking about with the throwing, is that these guys are figuring out how to throw guys out. And what I mean by that is like there's not a, hey, I gave my best throw and like my pitcher didn't give me a chance. It's like, no, when Bailey sees that guy got a good jump, he's going to spin on the right foot and sidearm and see how quickly he can get it down there. So we're starting to be like, you have to understand the situation, not just like we can't. Getting the guy being safe and you having an excuse does nothing for us, right? It's like, what can you do? Like, I understand maybe you're put in a difficult situation, but let's figure it out.
Yeah, and I love that. I love watching the guys like transition. Some guys will start in a knee down stance, and then as soon as they see the runner go, they start to plant. They go ahead and set their pivot foot, and they go. Some guys, hell, I saw it the other day. A guy's kind of in a traditional signal type stance. As soon as he sees the runner go, he's immediately dropping his right knee so that he's in a good throwing position. If the runner's not going, he's dropping his left knee to be in a better receiving position for him. So these guys are absolutely thinking outside the box, trying new things, and they're having a lot of success with it.
If you enjoyed that, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll have a new episode for you every single Tuesday here on our YouTube channel and wherever you listen to podcasts.